I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that you most likely clicked on this video because you're either considering therapy or in therapy, or just saw my face and was like, who is this girl? If I'm right and the answer is yes, then you came to the right place, because in this video we're going to be talking about 7 things that I learned after starting therapy. Welcome everyone, my name is Allie, and in this channel I'm all about promoting women empowerment, self-development, and healing, and all things in between. Using my experiences and my life, I want to be an influence to anyone out there who needs some type of motivation to start embarking on their journey. This is for anyone that is currently tired of their reality, that wants and desires to make a change for themselves. I want this to be a community where anyone can come to feel seen and feel heard and not feel judged when they share certain experiences that made them who they are today. If that sounds good to you, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment down below any topics that you guys would like for me to discuss here on this channel. Once you're done with that, do me a favor and go over to Instagram. Give me a follow where you can get to know me and I can get to know you guys on a more deeper level. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. When it comes to therapy, I myself know a thing or two about the ins and outs of therapy. So believe it or not, your girl have to go seek help. Yes, I have been doing therapy off and on, I want to say around the time I graduated high school. In fact, to this day, I still seek therapy. I had some trauma way back in high school that needed to come to the light. Once shit hit the fan, I was then court ordered to start going to therapy. That is my first remnants of even starting counseling, going to counseling, and having to experience all of those feelings that we get when we get ready to start meeting with a new professional therapist. So fast forward now, I am still currently off and on. I don't have a consistent therapist. However, I am still very committed to doing all of the shadow work and all of the activities and keeping up with the therapy, whether that be some form of self-therapy. For example, like reading books, researching about certain topics, and then also seeking out other people and other groups that have the same experiences that I went through. And believe it or not, at one point I was definitely embarrassed to admit the fact that I even started going to therapy. So only a handful of people really knew that I went, because I was so afraid that if I told anyone else, that I would be made fun of and that I would be judged for it, and that, you know, they would make fun of me or call me crazy. Now that I'm older, excuse me. But now that I'm older and now that I have become a mom, I've came to this realization that I need to stop giving a F what somebody thinks, because I need the help. And if I don't get the help, it's just going to keep getting worse from here on out. It's like now that I have these little ones depending on me, it's something in me that just kind of sparked up that feeling of I need to heal, if not for me, at least for them. And now that I'm a little bit more accepting of the fact that I seek professional help, I think it's more comforting knowing that I'm not alone. So with that being said, I want to be able to give some wisdom that I've learned while starting therapy. I have accepted that this is a part of my healing. This is a part of self-care for me. I am definitely not ashamed to say that I seek out therapy. So with all of that being said, I would like to share with you guys 7 things, or really 7 lessons that I learned once I started therapy. And so I'm going to start off with the first lesson being that it's okay to start over. I remember one time I was in a therapy session and it was a typical, you know, I'm talking about some life experiences, some childhood trauma that happened. And in the midst of me talking, I remember me just saying out loud, God, I wish I can just change my reality. I wish I could just start over and do something new, almost like having a new chapter in my life. It's as if my therapist was waiting for me to say that, because her response to that was, Alex, it is okay to start over. It's okay to start over at any point in your life. Like, it's okay to wake up one day and decide that something no longer works for me and that it's time for me to take on something new. She started telling me this whole thing about like I am allowed to start over. I have these type of limiting beliefs where I feel like it was too late for me because I'm already an adult, or it's too late for me because of all the things that happened. I never really got that confirmation from somebody to say it's okay to start over. She informed me and reassured me that I can tell myself that I give my permission to start over. I give my permission, and I am allowing of myself to change whatever that needs to change and evolve and grow. She said it like this, and I want to share it with you guys because it really stuck with me even to this day. Every day that we wake up is a blessing to then decide what we want to do that makes us happy. As long as you're not hurting anyone or hurting yourself in the process, it is okay to change yourself. It's okay to start over. And this applies to all areas in your life. It can be your professional career, it can be a relationship, it can be some personal self-development things, it can be friendships, it can even be environmental changes. Like, it's okay to decide I want to get up and move to a whole nother state and change everything about me and start a new life. It's okay. And I think that was the biggest thing, because we are sometimes afraid to do this because we have family, we have friends, we have people that have known us and they're comfortable with how we were because they don't want to see us change, because then that is a reflection of them not changing. So then that brings me on to my next point, which is number 2, that successful people use therapy, and successful people have to have therapy with whatever they do. I used to believe this taboo thing, or this taboo belief that going to therapy meant something's wrong with you. That going to therapy means that you're crazy, and that you are not going to be successful because you are somebody that has to go seek professional help and have to seek counseling. But as it turns out, through a lot of like social media and just me reading books, that in fact, in order to be successful, one of the biggest things that some of us really need is to be able to work with our inner self. And sometimes that's like the hardest thing we can do, working inside and fixing the things that we know we need to fix. And in order to become successful and in order to see change, you have to change. And that's where therapy can come and help you, because when we're somebody who's always had this certain perspective on life, this certain way of living, sometimes we're not aware that we just need a certain shift in perspective from somebody who is very unbiased and really doesn't even know us anyway, to kind of give us that guidance and that path to help us. So I honestly feel like in order to become successful, and just like all the successful and wealthy people, you have to seek counseling. Like, you have to be able to have somebody that can help you in a professional way that is only meant to help you and not take advantage of you. Plus, it's something comforting about knowing that some of the most wealthiest, healthiest people seek therapy. It makes me feel like, you know, at the end of the day, we're all still human, no matter our status, no matter what type of lifestyle we live, whether you're a rich person or somebody who's homeless. We're all human at the end of the day, and we all need help. So number 3 of the 7 things that I learned after starting therapy is that therapy is a part of self-care. And honestly, it is, because just like we have doctors who help with our physical body, just like we have, you know, if you're religious, priest or a preacher to help with the spiritual part of our health, we need therapists to also help with our mental and our emotional well-being. Sometimes we can't do it all alone. Just like how parents are supposed to be emotionally mature to help raise and guide their kids who don't have the knowledge and don't have the tools on managing emotions. You are supposed to be that parent for them, to be able to help them and guide them and show them so they can be emotionally mature. So it's the same thing when it comes to a therapist. When you need your mental health and you need your emotional health to really be a priority, sometimes you really need to seek a therapist to kind of jumpstart and help you do it in a healthy way. I just want to say that we're all about right now doing self-care as more of an aesthetic look, where we're all about going to get our nails done, eating right, which is important, going to the gym 5 times a week, glamorizing these long showers and these long baths. But it's rare that we're seeing people glamorizing going to therapy, and then after going to therapy, you're bawling your eyes out in the car because you just got done discovering some deep-rooted issues that at the end of the day is really affecting you and really hurts that you got that realization. Like, it takes a lot to be able to accept that, but I really feel that it's important that if you want to take care of your mental and emotional health, think about therapy as a part of your self-care routine. I want to say that if you don't do this, that sometimes we'll try to hold in our resentment, we'll try to hold in all that anger, and no matter what you do, your body is going to manifest it in another type of way. Your body is going to tell you signs, whether it be through a form of addiction, whether it be through a form of sex, using and eating as an emotional avoidance, having avoidance patterns, actually procrastinating. It's a whole bunch of different things that can kind of be a symptom of you holding something in rather than just going and seeking out help as a part of your self-care routine. Because nobody wants to have all this anger. Like, it makes you look bad. It really does something to your body and your soul, not getting out what you need to get out. So now, number 4 on my list, we're going to say that when it comes to the 7 things that I learned after starting therapy is that, and I'm sorry to say, you're going to feel worse before you feel better. Yes, you heard me right. You're going to feel worse before you feel better. And it may sound crazy because, you know, movies and society kind of, I want to say, glamorize. Society tries to portray that going to therapy can sometimes be a quick fix, that you go for a few visits, you go and talk to a therapist a few times, and then after that, whoa, you're all better. You're all better. You're it's like you have an epiphany and now you're on with the rest of your life. I want to debunk that right now and say that that is not true. That, in fact, to me was like the biggest eye-opening thing that I had to really realize about therapy. In fact, one of my favorite therapists that I had, my last therapist, she informed me that if you really want to be serious about this, she kind of gave me that disclaimer that you're going to feel worse before you feel better because we're opening some things. Now, a good therapist, side note, a good therapist should also be aware that if you open up wounds and it's really taking a toll on you after therapy, on your everyday life, a good therapist will acknowledge that and kind of try to slow it back down, or, you know, move on to something else and try to come back around to it at a later time. So I do just want to bring that up, but now that I'm done with that, basically when it comes to feeling better, you gotta kind of go through it. You're going to have to push through that pain, because in order to feel better, you have to pass through. You can't try to go around, you can't try to go over it or under it. You have to go through it. And I want to say, when I first started doing a couple of sessions on some deep-rooted stuff, I did in fact felt worse. I felt worse than what I did when I started. And the reason is because some of these things were so painful, and that I wanted to kind of run away from them by repressing these memories, that once I brought them up to the light, I was already having these unwanted emotions attached to it. So then altogether, I'm just like a big emotional mess. But here's my advice to you. Keep pushing. Keep pushing if you are somebody who is truly serious, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But as you push through those unwanted feelings, I can say that you experience a whole new level of healing once you finally go through it, which will in turn help you in the long run. So number 5 of the 7 things that I learned after starting therapy is that therapy is not all talk. No, like, honestly, yes, you're going to be talking. Yes, there's going to be a lot of talking. Mostly you, but it's not really just about talking if it's in fact a good therapist. Let me explain. When you have someone who is very active and really all about you when it comes to your therapy, you're going to realize that not only is it just you talking, you may get some remarks back from your therapist every now and then, but it most likely should be an engagement. Like, you should be having activities. You should be having some type of accountability exercises. You should also have coping mechanisms that you should practice on your everyday life. But a good therapist is really going to make sure that they keep you accountable and check in on you with all your activities. And make sure you're honest. If you feel like that activity is not working for you, then let them know. That way they can give you other tools, because I'm pretty sure therapy and counseling, they have so many buckets and bags full of tools. So don't be afraid to express that this one thing isn't working. There were times where she would give me that dreaded homework. Like, I felt like sometimes I wouldn't really do good at it, but I always told her I'm gonna commit and I'm gonna do my very best. And I found that, in fact, doing the homework and doing the activities really actually stuck with me. And I kind of am still doing them every day in my life, or at least I try to, for the majority part of it. And, I still have a lot of the paperwork that she gave me. I still have a lot of the tools that I have saved. So that way I can have like a reference to go back on. And there would be times that I didn't understand the point of it. I would be like, what is the point in this? Like, I don't understand why you're doing this. I don't feel a need to do this. And it's really just because I felt like, it was hard work or it was uncomfortable and I didn't really want to put myself out there and get out of the comfort zone. But then after a while, something would hit and I would be like, oh, now I see why this is working. Then there's number 6. Number 6 is that therapy, and you should look at therapy as another relationship. Yeah, you heard me right. Just like we have our dating relationships, our friendships, our co-worker, or not even just co-worker, but our co-worker or classmates. Then there's, business relationships. It's important that you have a good relationship with your therapist. Think of it that you're going to be dating. You're kind of going to have to go in and fish out and weed out the bad therapists and feel like, let's get the vibe out of the room. Let's get the vibe of the therapist. Are they actually serious about wanting to help me and my needs? Or is this just another patient? Is this just another money bag for them? And after a while, it may be scary in the beginning to kind of get the signs and the red flags to watch out for, and also to differentiate the difference between if this therapist is going to be good for you or not. In my opinion, I feel like therapy is really beneficial when you feel comfortable with your therapist. When you have an actual relationship that you guys have developed and made expectations for each other. Once you guys establish a good bond, where you feel like you're comfortable being able to say some things and continue on, your therapy sessions should definitely benefit you more and more, because after a while you don't see this person as, I'm just telling them all my secrets and they're judging me. You see this as a person who not only is a professional, so they know what they're doing, but it's like you're talking to another friend, but a professional friend. I want you to think about it like that. So there are some signs that I have personally experienced where I want to share with you guys to watch out for. If you notice that the therapist, after a few visits, does not remember like key components, like when they ask you about some traumas, if they forget about the main big trauma that should not be forgetful, if they forget certain names that you brought up more than once about, if they seem like they have to keep constantly get you to bring back and circle back around to certain events, and you told them more than once, that right there shows that they are very distant and that they really aren't keen on trying to remember your issues, which then sometimes does not make you feel better. At least for me, I did not feel like I was being heard, and that makes a big deal. Then another example is that if you watch their body language and you notice that they are somebody who kind of sits back, crosses their arms, they just look at you, they give you intimidating feelings because you're already nervous, and they are basically professionally judging you. So if you notice their body language is not someone who is open and friendly and comforting, then that could be a sign that either one, they are just as nervous as you, or two, they are it just is not a good match. And then I want to say the one thing that I really noticed about an actual therapist that I actually did not see no more after like the first visit is that as I'm telling her about things that she asked me to open up about and share, the whole time she's, and then there's a clock like behind me, and then she's like, you get what I'm saying? Like the whole time she's eyeing the clock. Look, I get it. I get it that therapists have many patients. They have many clients they need to see. So, you know, being on time is important, not only for you, but for the next person, because you don't want to waste their time. You don't want your time wasted, and you don't want the next person who needs help time to be wasted, because, you know, it all can become a domino effect. So I get it. I get it where they have to kind of be aware of the clock, and they kind of have to make sure that they're having great time management with each client. However, there is a difference between, you know, managing your time and you're rushing me. You're rushing this session. You didn't even let the whole session go all the way through. No, it was just, I can definitely tell the entire time that I'm talking, you are like watching the clock. That automatically makes somebody like me feel like it's not worth it. What's the point in talking? Because my actual therapist is really not even listening. So maybe my problems are not worth it. Like, I want to say, when you notice somebody who's like that, those are bad signs. But that's not to say that, you know, there are every therapist out there is going to be like that. But however, just like dating men, just like dating women, just like the whole dating scene, just like, you know, trying to find a job and interviewing or being the interviewee, you know, you're going to have to weed out the bad ones. You're going to have to figure out what works best for you. And honestly, you wouldn't really know until you try it out, until you test the relationship. So think about it like you're dating. And so lastly, number 7, the 7th thing that I learned after starting therapy is that I have become so much more aware. I think the best part about therapy is that you start developing a new level or next level of awareness for yourself, for the people around you, and then you start to kind of have compassion and understanding. And this is a true core belief that I believe about therapy, is that you really do gain awareness about how you react, how you act, how certain things trigger you. You get to become aware of how other people act and why they are the way they are, and it kind of makes you want to know more about why people are the way they are. So it's like you don't take so many things personal because you've gained the awareness of how you are, which means now that I understand myself to a certain extent, because we're all going to continue to learn and grow and know more about ourselves, because that's the fun part about the journey, is that every day you learn something new. So doing that, I feel like, also makes me want to understand that you are like that, because I've gained enough awareness of myself to know that that's why you're acting like that, based off of how I was acting a certain way. And so with practicing more self-awareness, and by recognizing yourself and recognizing all of your good traits and all of your bad traits, you get a sense of inner power that truly motivates you to keep going. I do want to say that trauma can also, you know, do this too, because if it wasn't for my trauma that I've endured, I probably would not have a lot of self-awareness that I had at a young age about about a lot of different stuff. But looking at it in a positive way, it's because of the trauma that I got to be able to gain the awareness at such a young age that it did not take me a long time to start changing myself. Like, I started realizing a lot of things in my teenager years due to the fact that I kind of had to grow up a little bit, and you kind of have that innocence lenses of being a child broken and shattered just a little bit. And so because of that, I take it as a strength, due to the fact that it made me want to know more about certain things, mainly about why I am the way I am and what's going on. Becoming self-aware, in my opinion, is the true key to healing and the true key to becoming the best version of yourself. So there you have it, you guys. I've gave you guys my 7 lessons or things that I learned after starting therapy. So tell me, which one of these lessons resonated with you? Do you agree with any of these lessons? Are there some that you feel like you definitely experienced? If you have, comment down below and let me know which ones you definitely agree with. Also, if you have some tips, if you have some lessons that you learned after starting therapy, don't hesitate to comment down below and share them with somebody, because you never know who could read it. I myself definitely want to know more. I want to hear from you guys what you guys learned about therapy. So don't forget to drop it down in the comment section. And with all that being said, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, you guys, bye.